Profit is brought to you by StopToShop.com, and they've got plenty of great deals just in time for the holiday season. Noble Victory singles are now in stock, along with a wide range of codes for the online game. As always, click the link in the description to earn 10% off your full order at checkout. When you're looking for cards this holiday season, make the stop at Stop to Shop.
Hey everybody, it's JWittz here from the Pokemon trading card game show Profit, and here we have the very first of my many recorded matches here at the St. Louis, Missouri Regional Championships. This game is the only one featuring myself. This is round one between myself and Ryan Boardman, better known by pretty much the entire community as Bigginzzz. We're both Illinois players, so it's a shame that we have to play each other right away, but it happens. There's only a few states that border Missouri that all come to travel, and Illinois is one of them. And that face that you guys just saw there is Vince Kreckler, the owner of Yeti Gaming, who was kind enough to really accommodate a lot of recorded matches here, and that's why I'm using his mats, just to let you guys know. He runs a great card shop in the Missouri area, and everyone there really loves him. Even people outside of his states like me really love him. So thanks, Vince, for letting us record, and let's get on with the match. Now, I'm playing Magnezone as usual, but I tried a different tech. I tried putting in a 2-2 Zoroark line in my deck. I thought it would help me against Zekrom and Reshiphlosion, and in testing the night before, it really did help. It was going really well. Bigginzzz is running Reshiphlosion, pretty standard list. And I started off with a mulligan. He got to draw an extra card. I think later on he'd tell me that the card he drew off the mulligan was pretty important. I think it was like, or I don't know if it was because I mulliganed that he was able to draw a collector. I see the collector in his hand now, but that's what can happen sometimes if you don't have enough basics in your deck. I run 12, so I don't mulligan that often, but it's just a factor that can give your opponent an advantage. So Bigginzzz starts, attaches a rescue energy to his Reshiphlosion, and plays that collector. And just looking at his deck right now, the one interesting thing that he's running is Kingdra in his list. The idea behind Kingdra is if you get it out before Trainer Lock deck starts setting up, that extra 10 damage can be enough to knock out things with Blue Flare that you normally couldn't, such as Gothitelle with 130 HP, and that gives you just the extra 10 you need after Blue Flare to knock it out before it starts moving all the damage you just did with Reuniclus. So he's looking through, debating what to get. He goes 2 Cyndaquils and a Vulpix. Yep. And so this is a pretty ideal start for Reshiphlosion. If you get Vulpix, if you run Vulpix, not everybody does anymore, and Cyndaquil down on turn 1, then you can get those evolutions out as soon as possible, and that can get you set up. And also, if you get them down right now on turn 1 like this, I can't evolve, I can't get any cheap attacks, I can't knock out any of these Pokemon right away. So he gets them out altogether. Now he passes. I don't know why he didn't bench the other Cyndaquil. I don't know if he's planning on communicating something in his hand or not, but right now he's just got one of each in the bench. I start off with the Sage's Training, look at the top 5 cards of my deck, and then I discard 3 of them from those 5. So I discard a Yanma, third Yanma, I already had 2, Catcher, and Copycat. Catcher's definitely not a card that I want to discard, so these other cards in my hand must be pretty good. Play Communication. Put back in the Zoroark. Oh, I'm starting to remember this game. Now, I think I grab a Zorua here, yeah. I have Zoroark and double colorless energy in my hand, which is really good against Reshiphlosion. The way Zoroark's Foul Play attack works is that when you use Foul Play for Blue Flare, you do not have to discard anything if you don't have any fire energy attached to you. So basically it's a 1 energy attack for 120 against Reshiphlosion. So I'm feeling pretty good about my new tech now. This is one of the matchups that it was in for, and I'm feeling pretty good. He evolves to Ninetales right away, which is definitely good, and Roast Reveal for 3 cards. Discard a Fire to draw 3. Got a Cleffa, Fire, and a Horsey. He does decide to bench that other Cyndaquil now, and Horsey. And he plays Charin to draw 3. And looking through his options, I see the rare candy, communication, a Pokemon. He has a fantastic setup. This is really good for Reshiphlosion. He's got the turn 2 rare candy, Typhlosion, and Ninetales. So he's completely set up by turn 2, which is not too common for Reshiphlosion. It's usually around turn 3 is the average, so this is definitely looking good for him. He's got the rare candy Typhlosion. And looking at his hand now, he's got an energy in his discard to Afterburner to attach. He's got an energy in his hand, and he's got a catcher. So this is really the perfect setup. You could not ask for more for Reshiphlosion other than more Typhlosions, which would just be even more improbable. But he's got the catcher on my Zoroark. He's got the blue flare. I am behind right out of the gates. This is going to be almost impossible to catch up. But that's what can happen if you get such a solid setup. So he's got Ninetales, Typhlosion, Cyndaquil down, waiting to become another Typhlosion. I don't even have a Magnemite down. This is going to be really hard. So I find my way into a collector. Sure, I would have played that last turn. I probably just top decked it or grabbed it off the Sage's Training, but I'll try and grab another Zoroark, Magnemite, and Cleffa, hoping that he can't catcher the other Zoroark. Or hoping that he doesn't go for the Magnemite. Either way, I guess I'm just trying to cut my losses, maybe make him have a hard decision if he has a catcher. And at least one of those Pokemon, either Magnezone or Zoroark, if I can get either of them out, I can at least start working a little bit, but otherwise things are going to be pretty tough. Now I dropped the Yanmega and catcher up his Typhlosion. And maybe I don't drop the Zoroark. Maybe I'm just trying to match his hand and put damage on the board while I can. 2 Sonic Booms knocks out a Typhlosion. Typhlosion active at least means that if he attaches and uses Afterburner, that he wastes all the energy attachments that he has for the turn. And he Roast Reveals for 3. And looking at his hand, I see another rare candy. I don't know if he has a way to get another Typhlosion, but drop Cyndaquil. And so many cards are in my hand. I've got 5. I think he's got 7 at this point. And he just passes. Now, when he did this at the time, I was really confused. I was like, why didn't he attach an energy? He at least should have done Afterburner, because that doesn't change the amount of cards in his hand, but I guess his goal here was make it so that I could not match his hand and attack again with Yanmega. And unfortunately, I don't have a single hand match card in my hand out of the 7 hand match supporters that run in my deck, so just have to throw up Cleffa and Eek and draw 6. It's too bad. If I could match his hand, I could knock out his Typhlosion here and maybe cut him out of Energy Acceleration. He still has the Ninetales, which can get him into another Typhlosion, but knocking out at least one Typhlosion would put me in a little bit of better spot, but at least he wasn't able to do basically anything on his turn, even attach an energy, so I at least get an Eek and 6 new cards out of it. He Roast Reveals again. And looking at what he's got, we see another Typhlosion, so there's rare candy played down. And Typhlosion number 2. Now, most of the time, when Reshiphlosion gets 2 Typhlosions out, unless it's like a trainer-like matchup, it usually has the game right there. Yeah, he's going to have to waste 2 energy to move his Typhlosion out of the way, but really not that big of a deal. He's got a lot going for him now. I still haven't gotten a single Magnezone out. All I have is the Omega to attack with. and definitely not looking good for me. He's got, I think it's a Junk Arm and 2 other cards in his hand. I think that's what he's planning on playing down. Yeah, definitely. He's got the plus power in his hand. He's probably going to Junk Arm, discard 2 other cards, replay Catcher, pull up my Magnemite with the energy, and knock it out. Or the Zorua. Either one of those are fine targets for him. He decides to go for the Magnemite. And now, once again, I'm left without any energy on the board, and I can't attack with Magnezone even if I wanted to, if I could evolve to one this turn. And it's just sitting me farther and farther back. And he decides to end his turn, or at least before the end of his turn, play Fisherman. Grab 4 energy back into his hand. And Outrage. Does 20 plus 20 more because he's got 20 damage on him, plus the plus power for a perfect 50 to knock out Magnemite. So at this point, I'm down 2 prizes. I'm clearly down in board advantage, and I don't have too much going for me. Pretty much drawing at straws, but the only way for me to really turn this back into a game is at least clear one of his Typhlosions, maybe get Zoroark out and start doing some work with it, and get a Magnezone. So I need a lot of things to work. And I just hit a discard of plus power with that Sage's Training, but it's going to hurt if I ever want to knock out a clean Reshiram with Zoroark and Blue Flare, but for now I think I'm just trying to get out whatever I can. I finally do have the Candy Zone, and I can at least do something. I got Zoroark too! Things are actually starting to look up. And I play Communication. I think right now my goal here is to just burn as many cards out of my hand as I can. Magnetic Draw, and please hit that double colorless. With double colorless, I can at least come up and knock out the Reshiram up there right now with 2 energy on it. He can still bring that Reshiram back with the rescue energy, but it definitely puts me in a position where at least I'm taking a comeback prize, and he might not be able to do anything about it. Yeah, I'm even burning the plus power just so that I can draw as many cards as I can, trying to hit double colorless. And if memory serves me right, I don't think I get it. So with no double colorless, lightning on Magnezone, might as well. And not good. So I throw up Cleffa and Eek, hopefully find a double colorless out of that. And maybe if he doesn't have another catcher, Cleffa can stay asleep and buy me an extra turn where he doesn't take a prize. Another kind of nice thing about the board right now, and it's not great, but it's kind of nice, is that he doesn't have another Reshiram out on the field right now, so until I knock something out, he only has that to attack with, and he can only use extra afterburners on Typhlosion for his attack. Typhlosion's attack isn't terrible, but I'd rather deal with that than more Reshiram. But he discards, draws 3, and Cleffa does wake up, so all he has to do is use Outrage with Reshiram and Cleffa's gone. But things are definitely hurting. He's going to be up 3 prizes after this turn, so it's pretty much a lost cause. His start was really good, and each of his progressive turns have been pretty strong. Whereas I have finally just got set up on my turn, and I still couldn't hit the 1 card I needed. So Ryan's debating a little bit. I know it's not too much to comment on when he's thinking, but it's definitely a thinking game and takes some time to make some decisions. I think at one point he takes just a little bit too much time where the judge tells him to hurry up a bit, but we're pretty much fine on time. The game is going to end without going to time. At least I'm pretty confident at this point, so I don't really mind it too much if he needs a little bit of time to make decisions. But he's just in a really good spot and he doesn't want to blow it. I know a lot of players have been in this position where you think you're in the lead by so much and then maybe you make a small mistake and everything falls apart, so he's just trying to keep his cool, make everything work out for him. One thing I did just remember though is, and there's Outrage for knockout on the Cleffa, is that this is the only game that where at the end I run out of battery. But I know by the end of the game, you definitely know how the rest is going to play out. And I think that's kind of giving you guys a spoiler on how this game's going to end. But looking at the board right now, we've got 3 prizes to 6 prizes, and I'm finally getting another zone out, but I have barely any energy to play with. I don't have many options at all. So I junk arm, I grab plus power. I think my reasoning here is, I'm trying to think. I know I'm thinking like combined with plus power, I only have to throw 1 energy with Magnezone to knock out Typhlosion, something like that. Let me think. Typhlosion's got, yeah, Typhlosion has 80 on it. And if I grab away into catcher, I can pull up Typhlosion, remove 1 energy with Lost Burn, and that'll do 60 to knock it out after the plus power. So I finally do get that double colorless energy, which means I can at least attack for a knockout on this turn, but it is definitely still a long road. Discard Communication. I've got Pachirisu now. Pachirisu is going to be the only way for me to deal any heavy damage with Magnezone because I have barely any energy in play. But I retreat. And use, I can't think of the attack, Foul Play to Blue Flare him. So that's my first prize. I've got 5 left. And at this point I'm thinking, you know, things could be worse. He doesn't have a Reshiram up now, so he's going to have to bench 1 and put something else up right now to retreat. And that puts me in a kind of good spot. He only has 1 energy that he can attach from his hand, and 2 more that he can attach using Afterburner, so I don't think he can knock out Zoroark on this turn. He's going to have to attach 1 to retreat Horsey, and then at most he can only get 2 energy on his Reshiram. So it at least gives me a little bit of hope. Maybe I can maneuver things around, get them to work out. That Typhlosion's always still going to be a fairly easy prize, and if I only have to deal with 1 more Reshiram, that would be great. But unfortunately, and I don't know if you can see all the cards in Bigginzz's massive hand right now, but I did not expect a 3rd Typhlosion. Now, normally I prevent this deck from doing things like this, like having a 14 card hand, because I play 4 Judge, but I haven't seen a single Judge this game either, which is pretty useful in the matchup, and without it, he's pretty much free to search through his entire deck and have the setup to get out 3 Typhlosion. So he communicates. Searching through his deck. I think he grabs Kingdra here. And at least here I'm like, okay, thank goodness, he got Kingdra. So maybe Typhlosion's prized? Maybe I won't be seeing Typhlosion? Thinking for the worst, he has Candy Typhlosion, Candy Kingdra. Thinking for the best, he can only get out Kingdra, something like that, but no, he just got it just because he could, and he's got 3 Typhlosions out now. Now, I know I said earlier, when Reshiram gets 2 Typhlosions out, that's pretty much an auto win, so you can guess what it means when they have 3 Typhlosions out. It's just so much energy. He's already got all those energies in the discard pile. He's not going to run out on Drought or anything. With 3 Typhlosion, you can attach 4 energy a turn, and that's enough to Blue Flare every single turn, pretty much no matter what scenario you're in. So, just like now, he attached 4 energy, and was able to turn that into a Blue Flare. And it's my turn, I draw. Horsey's a prize now with 40 HP left for linear attack, but it really doesn't matter. He's going to Blue Flare every single turn. I drop the Pachirisu, attach 2 lightning to it with self-generation, so get a little bit of energy acceleration. I attach 3 energy this turn, which is almost as good as 3 Typhlosion, but I can't do that every turn. And right now, it's pretty much a lost cause. I think, if anything, I have to bring up Magnezone, take a prize with him, and hope that Ryan can't find 2 plus powers, and then Magnezone at least survives 1 hit and can attack again, but there's pretty much no conceivable angle where I can catch up enough where I'm actually competing in the game again. Unless maybe if I hit a Judge and he gets terrible cards, but even then, even if he runs out of Reshirams, the Typhlosion is going to be really hard to deal with. his attack, discarding Magnezone's energy, is pretty much enough to lock up my Magnezone for the game, so no matter which way I look at this right now, I'm pretty much lost. I try and pull up the Typhlosion, I figure why not. I'll have to throw less energy this way. I can grab a knockout, gives him 1 less energy. There's the judge, and he finally has to scoop back in his monster 12 card hand into his deck, and maybe he can draw a little bit less, but at this point, it's pretty much a lost cause. But yeah, this just goes to show. Now, this is a matchup a lot of people debate. People don't really seem to agree on whether or not Magnezone Yanmega or Reshiram Typhlosion is a better matchup, and I'd say it's very, very close to even, but definitely dependent on whoever gets their first Stage 2 Pokemon out. Whether the Magnezone player gets their Magnezone out first, or whether the Reshiram player sees their Typhlosion first. Now, Ryan saw Typhlosion and Ninetales on turn 2, and that pretty much devastated my setup, and even though I have the Zoroark as a nice tech to knock out Reshirams pretty easily, he knocked out my Zorua right away, and he had huge board control. And that's pretty much how the rest of the game's going to end. I try and grab a few prizes here or there, but he only has 2 left to take, and he can deal 120 damage whenever he wants on every turn. I think he takes 1 on this turn and catches for 1 on the next turn, but that's how the whole thing concludes. I know I'm talking as if the game's over already, but it is, and I know that eventually it's going to run out of footage just because it runs out right at the end, but hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Thanks again to Vince at Yeti Gaming in Missouri. Be sure to check out yetigaming.com if you live in the Missouri area and want to check out the Pokemon scene, and stay tuned for more regional videos.